And here in the next step we have the Blackfish material. You can just enter whatever quantities you want to operate on, or you can scan the product here. If they are serial items, you can just scan them here. Though we don't really like this UI, and this scan also was not available in the early releases of release 11, but and when it came in also, it's a very tedious thing. You have to keep entering here, scanning. So it's a pretty tedious UI. It's not very user friendly. And I can choose one of the components here. So whichever is a, why do I have such a list of components?
It's doing everything, right?
Okay, I think this is my non-standard work order. It could be.
Okay.
Okay. And how much quantity I want to transact. You can just enter everything. I'm just entering one. And also I want you to note that this option comes in from your plant parameter setup. Sometimes in a plant parameter setup, there's an option that should you be allowed to edit the backflush quantity or no. Like in the plant parameter, if you set it as no, you should not be allowed. Like you said, if it's a basic operator who should not be having the authority to decide what he wants to do. So you can just set in the plant parameters that the Blackfish quantity cannot be edited. That's when you will not even get this train 2. You will not even have this option. It will directly go to auto transact resources, because whatever materials has been there in your work definitions, it is just going to transact that. Make sense?
Yeah, okay. No additional materials, I think. Okay.
Correct.
And no additional quantity either.
I can just quickly open the plant parameter page so that you're more clear and you know where we did that. We set it up in the first day of our plant parameter setup. And this is also a nice to have feature. So earlier we could always edit it. This feature also came in the later releases, which was very nice to have.
Actually, just Dilip, this is definitely not as built in our EBS. Definitely, it's a different product.
Oh really? I'm more intrigued.
Different? Which part are you saying? What exactly are you saying is different?
The way you execute anything, it is little different. Definitely, it is not as is.
No, that quick complete option seems to be new. That's correct. But other than that, I don't see too much. A few features here and there. It's not totally different. It's just
actually, the process will be same, whether it's SAP or Oracle or anything. But, the interface is there. It's a little different.
No. These are very minor differences that you're seeing. I don't think they are anything big. It's basically similar. Okay, allow quantity changes during backflush. Okay.
Yeah, this is the one. So if I don't set it to both, so what I'm allowing both resource and material changes. If I set it to none, I think none is the default selected. So if you guys have not paid attention to this during your org, you will have none. And if you go to complete your work order, you won't even have this option.
Okay.
Or rather, you won't even have the auto transact resources option, because you can't edit your resources also. Okay. This is also an interesting and a nice.
Okay. So they'll get transacted when you complete it automatically.
Correct.
So fixed amounts, fixed quantities. Yeah.
Correct. So in the next one, I'm just saying the sub inventory, what quantity I'm taking from what sub inventory, and save and close. So when you save and close, it tells you this: you have completed 7 each at operation 20 to sub inventory stores for the work order HB1004. So if I go to my manage work order screen and again do a blind kind of a search, you will see, okay, because I removed the...
Yeah, because you hold it. So the status would have changed, right?
Yes.
Yeah, completed, yeah, correct.
So I wanted to show you how the order status goes to completed. So we saw how the order moves from unreleased to released, and then it is completed. In the cloud, I'm not sure how it's there in EBS, these work orders remain in completed status. In order to close them out completely, there's a separate job that we run. So this job can be...
feature, right? That's a costing feature.
No. So for costing, okay, yeah, actually this job also I have put it in my PPT. Now, after completion, if you want to interface all your cost transactions to costing, there is a separate job. This is here, transfer transactions from production to costing. So this will transfer all your costing for your resources, for your material to costing. If you know, in the resource setup, we selected whether we want the resource to be costed or not. So the resources which don't have that selected will not interface to costing, but the resources where we have marked that we want it to be interface to costing, on running this job, they will interface to costing. Let's just complete the life cycle. Let's just run it, interface it to costing. It's not going to do anything for now because I haven't done any costing setup.
Just
But
information. Is it for example, if a long cycle work order is there, so can you transfer the cost when the work order is not even complete, just operation is complete, you transfer the cost?
I don't think so, but should be. I mean, that's what I.
No, work in process. If you go on adding to the work in process value, right, as you incur, so costs are getting incurred on a job that's not complete. Of course, it will do that. It has to do that.
That is EBS.
No, but I think
it's a functional requirement. No, forget EBS or otherwise. It's a functional requirement that as you work on the job, you are consuming, you're incurring costs, you're incurring labor, you're incurring material, and that is getting removed from the inventory and getting added to the WIP job. So the WIP job must its value must go on increasing. So that
the cost organization is different. That we are transferring.
Doesn't matter. You can choose when to transfer it, but typically you will transfer it periodically.
Yeah, this job is normally scheduled. So in a very basically in all implementations, you just schedule this because you don't want this manual interference here.
Right.
What is the frequency you typically schedule it? For half an hour?
I think in one of my my projects we did it weekly. In a day we did it like at 2 intervals, in the midday and end of day.
Okay.
That was a very small. Actually, they had only kitting process. So that time, even this manufacturing cloud did not have all its capabilities. And anyways, they wanted only work order less mainly and some assembly, just basic assembling. No manufacturing and not a big manufacturing plant. They only used to assemble products. So they were fine to do it once in the midday and once at end of day.
Okay.
But that was very small. Like I said, it was extremely small. I don't know in big manufacturing plants how they would want to.
So Dipti, coming back to the move order, basically when you release it in a real-time scenario, the production supervisor print the labels, print the pick component list and hand over to the floor team, who is responsible to pick the component, bring it to the WIP job area. There they will complete it. So picking, transacting the move order, that screen will you give it to the floor people?
So here, if you want to print, here there's also an option. Again, you guys can tell me if this is there in EBS or not.
No. I'm not saying printing. Printing can be done by super user. That's fine. But the transacting the material in the move order, that step usually done by the floor people when they physically move the inventory. So that screen you will hand over to the floor people.
No. I think what he's asking is issue of material to the work order. How do you do from sub-inventory, from warehouse to the...
Yeah, you have this pick material. I think you got to do a pick material for work orders. Is that right?
Yeah, you can here pick materials for the work orders here. This is also like either I could pick it. We saw that option during the manage work orders, right? Yeah, this will create the pick slip. You can specify whatever organ thing you want here, and even in the manage work orders, you can enable the pick option we saw. You can run this also. And that will create your move order.
And then it may allocate, right? And then you can transact that allocation.
Correct. Yes.
Okay. So the same as EBS. Same as EBS.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly the same. And like how you were saying, where you want to give a printed document to your shop floor, and
Right.
the document and your products keep traveling from work area to work area or work center to work center. There is this feature called Print Work Order Traveler. So Work Order Traveler is nothing but the whole view of what you're manufacturing, how you're manufacturing, what components you need, what you need, and it typically travels along with your work order. So if your work order is going from work center or work area 1 to work area 2, this work order traveler is the document which goes along with your work order. It can have every detail that you have printed on your work definition
Okay.
and your work instructions. I haven't checked, but most print documents can be customized. So I'm going to show you how a standard print traveler looks like, the output. But I'm like anything with the word print typically can be customized in their own template. So I guess you can. You know, because all these are very new features in the last couple of months, like lot of these features. In fact, the earlier releases was not too mature, and it was very difficult to create a lot of transactions. Similarly, in the very latest release, which has come this month or last month, we have some capabilities for process manufacturing too. But yeah, I have to understand that myself. I haven't had a chance to see that. But just like an FYI, that we always had the thing that process manufacturing is not supported in the cloud. It's just from this release, there is some capability built in. I haven't had a chance to see how much of capability that is. So like I said, yeah, every couple of months you are having new features and new options being added here.
Yeah, but unless a full module of OPM is made available, people can't really implement it. You can't just say, hey, here are 5 features. You can't do that.
So you know what happened what I heard with one of the customers last year was, because last year you did not have the process manufacturing, but there was a heavy customization around, because you could have UOM conversions using that and using some other little capabilities which was being built into the cloud. There was some customer who did a small process manufacturing flow, and I don't know what, I don't have the details, I just read it like an article, and that was very interesting to see that, because process manufacturing is so complicated, people don't even want to get into it. But without the capabilities, listing some things was, I found it very intriguing. Actually, but this release has some.
Because in this context, I want to ask you one thing. This cloud is drastically changing, am I right? It's quickly changing. And the customers who implemented their implementations, how that gets impacted. It is like a running train. People have to run, otherwise they will get wounded, am I right?
Yeah, that's actually very right. In fact, that's the very same thing most customers ask us. So there's been some customers who do not have a strong IT team, right? So they are not very on top functional, and they've come from legacy applications. So they typically ask us that how do we maintain the application, or how do we know that this feature is available and I can use. So that's when we had to tell them that, look, we as consultants kind of are interested to know what new is coming up, but that's not their job, so they don't typically do that. And it just happened in one of my customer releases. Until UAT, we were on a certain release, and post UAT, just before production, we had 1.5 months, we were doing all the cutover activities. We had the Oracle latest patch release, and the UIs had changed. It's just it's the same navigator.
Can you not say that you won't go live with those new features?
No. You had to just, oh yes, and we had to just kind of, so of course we did that whole process of having that first installed in dev instance, then in the test instance. But you know, just this navigator, they started giving a collapsible view of every of this title. So it became so, like now I can see everything, right? I don't have to remember the the subtitle. So I don't need to remember if security console is under tools. I just search for security console here, or sometimes I just do this control F, you know. So I didn't know it's under tools, but then the UI changed. So here Everything
So are you
started
saying
appearing.
that release is, deployment of the release is totally out of our control as the client?
Yes.
The Oracle decides that, and then if it comes 15 days before you go live, then you are in the soup.
Yes. So typically you have customer success managers to every project who work very closely with your customer and with you. Ideally, they are supposed to voice these things out and tell you that, hey, this release date is not a very good time because we are having our weekly patch or a quarterly patch around this time. So, but you know, not everybody is on top, right? But
So that
typically,
means the client will be forced to change the date, and they
yeah.
may not want to change the date because of business reasons. That may be tough.
It may be very tough. So it just happened just this year in one of my releases, which went live last month. I think it went live in the month of March, and around in March itself, the UIs had changed. So the business users were really panicked because they were trained for a couple of months
Right.
in a certain UI, and we had to always tell them, don't panic. Nothing's changed. Only the UI has
No,
changed.
but if the functionality also changes, then they are going to have to test everything out again.
Yeah, so there were no stark changes in functionality. In fact, I heard in finance typically had such issues, and in two of the projects I've heard where finance wanted to do a test after the patching was applied. Somehow in supply chain we never needed to retest anything just because a patching was done. But Oracle is strategic that way that it always patches your lower instances first and you use it. But yeah, one fine day your prod instance is also patched. So in that
No, but
lower
like in
instances,
EBS we get these roll-up patches, and clients normally defer the roll-up patches for 6 months, 1 year, 2 years. They defer it quite substantially, and they said, okay, once a roll-up patch is there, we are going to spend 2 months testing it, so we don't have that much time. So clients are deferring that roll-up patches quite substantially.
here I didn't see that option much because the same thing happened with Michael. I think you can defer it a little, but you beyond a point because every quarter they want to patch your instance. So if you defer this quarter, at least the next quarter's patch is also again deferred that way, right? So I don't
So
think you can.
they transfer it to a training instance first and give you a chance of a month or two to test it out?
Yeah. Typically always the patching is first done in the lower instances and then in the higher instance.
Okay.
But yeah, such things happen, and you have a customer success manager who's very closely working with your customer and with the consultant. So they will also, I think this is also new in the cloud, where the customer success manager during your cutover activities, he reviews what cutover activities you're doing and which serial. Do you have a good project plan? And they sometimes can give comments about your consultant, about the consultant to the customer, that no, you're not happy with this consulting company or these consultants. The customer success manager, who's just the viewer in your meetings or something. That's nice because actually this was not there in the earlier implementations of cloud. But cloud being new, the consultants being new, there was a lot of dissatisfaction because the consultants didn't do a very good job, but the customer has paid for it and he's like not happy. So ultimately it's Oracle's product which is not doing well, right? So now every project will have a customer success manager, and he'll be there from the start. So any questions you have, you can even route it through him. Any SRs you want to push, you can route it through him. And he plays a very key role towards the end. Towards the end, he's always viewing that, hey, we are okay with this plan. Yes, this is an achievable plan. If you plan your cutovers, and if he thinks that you're giving too unrealistic dates, he speaks up. There was one project of mine which went into a complete audit mode, and the Oracle guys were auditing the whole project plan and the work that was being done by the consultants. So they came into a call, they asked kind of random questions just to kind of test your knowledge. So they were just asking how you planning to implement this, how you planning to do this implementation, this feature that the customer has. So in that process, they kind of get to know how the consultant is. But this did not happen in a lot of projects, but yeah. And they voice out that, okay, your planning date is very close to the patching date. They voice out because the quarterly patches, I think, have a they have a timeline. It's like first week or second week. So there are two kind of, one is an upgrade patch, one is another patch. So I saw that somewhere, even I don't keep in mind the schedule, but yeah.
So in cloud, when patch I applied, that apply each customer they apply for different time.
Marginally different times. It'll be just like a little here and there.
Because the functionality is same across the globe, am I right? So how they are going to do that? So somebody has to, some patches needs downtime.
They don't need a downtime typically, or it's a very little downtime that Oracle will notify you that this is, and they do it in the late night hours or the weekend hours. So,
is
but
it
they
that
notify
in the cloud, the application code is actually shared across different installations? It's only your data is separate? Is that how it is? The code is actually common across various clients or various cloud clients?
Correct. That's the reason they are all Oracle managed instances, right?
Mm-hmm.
That they're all managed by Oracle, and they have their own. So I think they plan their patching as per the data centers. So they, I think, when whichever data center you fall, you'll have that kind of patching cycle.
Okay.
But yeah, so far there's not. But yeah, sometimes you do get P1 defects after the patches are applied. So many times I think we had some approval issues just because the patching was done, and after that something didn't work, and then we realized that it's a defect out of the patch. Then you again file a P1 SR, get the P1 defect fixed. So that also happens, and I think
it's a good information, but I think we have got distracted. We need to be on schedule. Yeah.
yes. Okay. Where were we? So we finished all creating different type of work orders, and we saw.
Did we see the progress in the work order from each operation to operation?
How about the operation moves? We didn't see operation moves.
I think this one was a non-standard work order, right? Let's just see a good work order which we created 2-3 operations so that you can see that. I think we did that to 4. Did we do that to? Okay, this has 2 operations. Let's pick this up. HB1003. So again, you go to your HB review dispatch list and 1003. If you just want to report material transactions for this operations, for this work order, you can come here. So this is manual reporting of your materials that you have consumed. You can choose to do only this, and suppose the train that you want to see for operation to operation, we can do here complete with details.
No, okay. This is an operation completion, not a job completion.
Okay, one second. Yeah, this is showing me the job completion. So again, this UI has changed, and earlier only in complete with details we would see this.
Yeah, where do you complete any given operation and not the whole job?
This is resource.
Yeah, okay. But no, resource is also separate from operation, right?
Right. I'm just showing you 1 minute.
Select the first one, yeah.
Okay, well, if you just got to close.
Move the job from first operation to second one, 10 to 20.
Yeah, that's what I've. So earlier, the complete with details would do that, and once let me just close some things out. I have too many things open.
And also I wanted to know what is the impact of this supply types on this operation when you progress the operations, material supply types.
1 minute. So here, this is the whole job. So earlier, in complete with details, we would see every operation. So this train would show every operation where we would complete. So I think now they have just made some change in the UI.
Can you create quickly another job for that thing and then show us?
No, I'm not able to find the button itself, the link where it's showing me every job. Every operation.
Operation move. Mm-hmm.
Complete with details, I think.
Yeah, it should be here, right? It should
No,
be
this is the edit work order page. So all you're doing is you're editing a work order.
Right, right.
Okay, so here, but it was somewhere here itself where you know, it would show you like the train we see on the top. It would show you that you are in operation 10. So you complete. So you can choose to complete partially where the operation 10 is only partially complete. So in the operation 10 out of 5 quantity, if I enter only 3, so only 3 moves to the second operation. So this operation is also active and this is also active. Like this is also working.
Right.
I'm sorry guys, I'll have to figure that out.
Did we set up what are the interoperation steps we can have, like to move, to run, and to you know, those kind of things? What are the different interoperation steps?
No, we haven't seen interoperation steps.
We haven't seen that. The EBS has got steps within an operation. It says queue, to
move
and run and to move.
These 3 are the basic things, yes.
Right.
Or you can say reject or something, you know, suspend.
Yeah, scrap and reject, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we can do that here too. I'm just missing it. It's exactly the same thing, but I can't recall the type.
But in your task list on the right hand side, you might be having a different option for that.
It's in the review dispatch list.
Yeah, this one, correct. Yeah, this one. There may be a different option. Let's see what.
No. Normally, it's everything report, you can do only in the review dispatch list.
Report, material, resource, report. Okay, you don't have an operation move. Manage production move.
No, there's nothing called operation move, but in the review dispatch list only. Why do I think it switches? Because I randomly created the work definitions and all, right? I didn't mark every work definition as count point. Let me do one thing is, for the FG item, I'm just going to mark every step as count point, and then we will see if it allows us to stop at everything. But I know it does. I've done it also. Now I can't put my finger on what different we are doing here, but the complete with details option itself would show me that. The complete with details itself will show operation 10, and then you can partially complete. You can scrap over there.
Okay, so that itself is supposed to do at operation level as well.
Yeah, and that would let you scrap, that would let you reject. And if you reject it or scrap it, the material does not, and then that's when you can complete the work order. Else, you will show you that the work order.
If you just want to progress operation 10, you don't want to reach the final, you can do that also there, right?
Actually, operation 10 to 20, all material will not go just like that. So you'll be in waiting mode. So that's called queue.
No. So what I was saying is, suppose we have 5 units here, and the 5 units after the work is done here will go here. Like the total quantity of your work order is 5 units, but assembly 10 right now completed only 3. So the 3 will move on here to the second operation, and very clearly you can see that the 3 has moved to the is in operation 20, while 2 quantity is still with operation 10, and the 2 quantity later on you can reject, you can scrap it. So there were multiple things, and
and you want to leave that in 20 because 20 is not yet done.
Correct. So we definitely could do that. I don't know. I'm not able to place a finger as to what I'm doing different here.
No, 10 to 20, you don't need to go. Actually, it needs to be waiting between 10 and 20 also. That also you can do.
I haven't seen that. So when you progress 10, a material directly go to 20, and it's sitting in 20 before you transact it.
20 is not completed here.
So what we can do is maybe we'll take our lunch break now, and I'm also going to see if I can figure that out. Where we see the operation movement, If we can figure that out, we'll cover that in the end. And the second half, I will just walk through all these capabilities. Some we will demo, some we will not demo, for in the interest of time, because they're all very basic. They're all very standard.
No, actually, Deepti, the movement of work, the work order through operations is very key to WIP actually.
Yeah, like I said, I am going to try and figure out what it is. I'm really not able to, because I'm actually surprised. Normally, the complete with details, that button will give you this. So it could be that my work definition is not proper, or because it's for a finished code. I have done that with ATO items, like where with the whole config item flow you have to do, right? Because we place the work orders only on the star item. So I'm not sure because of what reason this is, but it's exactly the same thing. So even if you don't see on the screen and later on in some other instance of yours you see it, there's going to be nothing different and there's no impact.
Oh, so in the complete step itself we can do all that, okay.
Yeah, in the complete with details you will see the complete train of 10, and like I said, you complete 10, you move on to 20, you move partially to 20.
Well, that's a good explanation at least, yeah. For now at least we can stay on that.
I think the way you configure the routing, it all depends upon that, am I right? As you said, the count points could be one.
But we don't know what was not right.
So I'm going to try during this break for some time. During this break, I also had to set your activity guide. But yeah, so guys, yeah, I think your activity guide I'm going to send you only by tomorrow. I haven't prepared your activity guides, but tomorrow you'll have it with you. I'm going to try and figure that out. It's probably that certain of my, just to add in variety, I could some operations as automatic transact, some operations as count point and not count point. So I'm going to see if I can explore that during this break. And once we reconvene, we will see this and we will see all these other options too. Okay? So we'll take a hour's break from now and we'll be back exactly, probably from my clock, we should be back in 58 minutes from now. Is that okay?
Yeah, sure.
Take more time if you want actually. Yeah.
I think if we take more time, I'll not be completing the plan. We have a lot of things to cover.
If you want,
it's better to complete the agenda because this one you have already told us where it should be, so we can troubleshoot it later and make sure that it's there.
Yeah, thank you.
So I'm just the rest of the agenda for that.
Yeah, so I want to cover all these options. Like I said, I'm going to demo some, I may not demo some, but just to give you an idea of what are the capabilities and what all it does. Okay, because today technically is the last day of our manufacturing process.
We definitely need to finish the course area.
Yeah.
The agenda.
Okay.
Sure. Thank you guys. So we just take a break and I'll pause my screen now.
Thank you.
Thanks.
I don't think it is a work order is very, I'm telling you, this is not correct. No, not that. It has to show that. That's why it doesn't. I think this called on the wrong day. No. I agree with you, and I'm not confident. It's not just living. That is important thing. If you cannot do it, I also agree that we need to come up with some conclusions. But we have all the opportunity. it takes you by the time you can show us item, and that is fully out of it. Without that, there is nothing. I'm telling you, I go to a client person, I can't show us, and if you walk out, other than sorry, no. I'm trying to routing doesn't work, then I don't do it. You can't progress to work on it. Actually, there, issue of material of the quantity, all the fasting, all the things we need to deal with. The problem is got a lot of unity. This is one of the key things to the place. That's what I'm saying. That's right. I'm not even asking that it is not working, put it to the no. At least to know that. That's what I'm saying. Yes, no, it should work. And that I did. No. Just show that and then move. I'm not telling that. I am not telling just show this and then move on. No. So, man, in the software, there are enough problems where the material, I'm a software guy. I've worked in software for so many years. Okay. You know what I'm learning? You know what I'm learning? Now I'm learning a lot of things live cloud services. And they're very successful. Majority of the questions getting not forward. You can always do that. So you do not. That's what is happening. Tomorrow we will go. On the things we will say that there is nothing. There is nothing to do tomorrow. We will be telling nothing is not working and this kind of is not okay. After that is doing nothing. They are trying to get it now and because of very If the situation is too bad, I may not get it. You can use it. That's why I'm collecting information. No, no. Yeah. Yes. That is there. Yeah. No, yeah. That's what I told my friends. Right? Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Hey, you can put on your resume, you will become much more valuable for next project. Yeah, it is there. No, not me. That must be Basha. No, 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 no.
Hello everyone, are we back from the break?
Yes, this is Rao. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah. So did you figure out the issue?
No, honestly, I couldn't work during this break. I was just busy with something.
Oh, okay.
I'm just trying, in fact, right now. So I see Dilip is also there. Should we give another? I'll just wait for 1 more minute for Sheikh, so that I just want to get started because we have a lot of things to finish.
I know. Progress it. This one, if you cannot solve today, try to do it later. But show us that. That will be really a key thing. Yeah.
Sure.
Because I have implemented. That's where all the users get interacted with the system. That's the place.
Yeah, but like I said, you're not missing out on anything. So just don't feel that you're missing out on anything, because it's exactly the same place. It could be that, I've not set it up right, but once you set it up in the right way, because from the demo point, I was just so focused here. Or the next thing what I can think is it's just changed in the UI now.
Don't worry for now. Don't worry for now. Please go ahead and do other stuff. But try to figure out later. Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay, let's get started. So maybe the participants not speaking can just go on mute. I get some background noise right now. Yeah. Okay, I see a note that Dilip has left the meeting. We'll just give a minute to Dilip. Looks like he just got logged off or something.
He'll join back, yeah.
Okay, so I'm just getting started. I'm going to this is what we saw before the break. We spoke about the review dispatch list, and this is the place where you can...
No, your screen is not shared, please. It's still meeting is passed.
Oh, okay. Okay, now it should be visible. Okay, so we just spoke about the review dispatch list, and if you see even from the documentation, it kind of says that you can get to complete operation transactions per operation, and I'm just not too very sure why we are not able to see the details. However, like I said, this is not like a very big point. I'm sure when you have your own instance where you're implementing, this is not going to be something that you're going to be searching, because it will be right available in front of you. It could be that something I'm doing incorrect which has caused this, but just don't feel that you've missed out on something, because it's exactly in the review dispatch list. And for every operation you can record transactions, you can record your serial numbers. You will be very clearly seeing that, like how I had explained. Okay. There is this also another new feature where, like, a production supervisor can view all the material that is available. So he'll get a view of the available components and the availability, so that he can decide what all work orders he wants to release, and similarly even to prioritize the work orders. So this is like a material availability workbench. And this is also a very new feature which is available now. Here you can create certain kind of priority rules which help you identify which work orders have to be prioritized, and you can prioritize based on these attributes. Right now, item, customer, or a date criteria, and what orders you want to include, if you want to exclude certain orders, or if you want to change certain assignment, that you could see that there is some material which is allocated to a work order which is not so important with a lower priority, you can also choose to reprioritize them. In fact, earlier there was no way to reprioritize, so the only option was whichever order came in first, material and components would get allocated to that order, and that was a big drawback, because it was just like whichever order has come in first, and if there was an order later, you had to go through the whole process of cancelling your first order, releasing the material, and then, so this is in fact very useful that way.
So this is happening only at the time of quick release, or when does this happen?
Here it's this is right now just a view that where you can view the orders, like you view the material availability, and when you have work orders in progress, that's like when you have work orders which are in release status, you can deallocate the material and reallocate to something else.
So this is just on the fly. The material availability shows how the material is being made available, being positioned, not necessarily reserved,
Right.
but just how it is positioned, how it may be potentially be allocated.
Correct. And then here you can, like, you get a view of which material there are shortages and what all work orders could be impacted. So you create certain priority rules and inclusion exclusion rules, which also helps in prioritizing. And
Did you
here
create these rules?
I'm going to show you now.
Okay.
So when you enter this, then it's dynamically worked out each time you enter this.
Each time you enter what? I didn't get that.
Each time you enter this screen, the availability is dynamically worked out based on the rules.
No.
Not stored. It's stored?
No, it is stored. It is stored,
It's
yes.
stored?
It is
Okay.
stored. We are going to see that. So
And
here,
the question is the rules work when you do a batch of jobs released in a batch, then it follows the rules and allocates, or how is that? Or is it works on individual release also? The work order.
it should work on individual release also. So any work orders, when they get released and they are ready to be worked on the shop floor, it will follow your availability rules. I'm going to show you that. So here, like you say, when it's saying that the work order status, change the work order status to released, the prioritize work orders with the critical materials are available and hold the work orders with material shortages. So let's see the screen. It will be a little more clear, and it's a very new feature. So I won't know if it's really working well or not, but I've played around a bit with this to see how it looks like and what it is. This is the material availability. First, let's create the material availability rules. So here you're creating, so this tab tells you that you want to create a priority rule. So whichever has the lowest number of rule sequence, that gets the highest priority. So what I'm telling here is, if there's a work order with item, like this is the list of attributes on which you can choose to create your priority condition. So if I say if the scheduled ship date is, say, a certain value, that's when that takes for priority. And if I want to, so right now I just create very simple rule says, if the item is an ATO model, that's the topmost priority for me. And if the customer is this Yorkshire group, that's important. The next priority is the item, the work orders with item FG. This is the inclusion criteria.
So there is no priority for other items. Since there's nothing mentioned for other items, they don't have any priority.
What do you mean by other items?
Items other than these two.
This is what I'm using in my example, right? So I've just created this. Otherwise, you can define it on an item category also, that there's a certain category which is important, or you can decide it on your ship to, like these are for customer orders. if they are
Right.
shipped to
Okay, that's
country.
fine. That's fine.
What is
So
the
you
short
can-
order though?
Short order?
Yeah.
What do you mean by a short order?
There's a field called short order in that, am I right? Rules.
No. Short
Where
order,
are you
where
seeing
is that? Don't see that.
I see that. It is the you have 4 values, am I right? The third value is short order. No, in that not.
Sort. Oh, you're talking about the
Okay,
column.
sort.
Yeah.
It's disabled. I won't know. Like I said, this is a very new feature. Normally we sort, like the rule priority, we sort with these numbers. So I just don't know what this field is. And this is
No, but
like a very,
so-
very new feature.
Typically, you should leave that attribute value blank. Then it should go by a sorting order within that attribute, right? So can you make the attribute value blank?
Okay.
Then yeah, now it shows up, correct. So now you say, okay, ascending, descending, correct.
Oh, in item ascending.
For
sort?
item you would not do that. For item you would not do ascending, descending, but this is typically, let's say you may do
Oh,
it.
for the date. Okay, get you. I get you. For the date, like for any date. Okay. Schedule ship date or start date or completion date, I guess. Okay, then you can use the sort.
Order on that, and don't fill any attribute value. Yeah,
Okay.
correct.
So you know what, I think
That
in
would be
future we'll get that enhancement where this field is enabled only for when we do a date selection. And if we do an item selection, this should be grayed out. Right now it's
No,
not
it
grayed
is
out.
item selection. It is available, but it may not make meaning because you don't want to
Okay.
do it based on alphabetical sorting of items. That doesn't make sense. But it's
Correct.
available for someone who may want to choose that. So I don't think they're going to remove that. But there's some logic for that. May not be useful, but
Oh, no, I just thought it should be grayed out in that. Okay, yeah, but actually makes
We
sense.
got an idea now. We got an idea.
Yeah, yeah. That's okay. And this is just the inclusion criteria. That what all do you want to
that's the
include?
arrangement. Yeah.
Yeah, do you want to include released, unreleased, or what all? Do you want to include only standard orders or non-standard and like any inclusion criteria? And this is a forced assignment criteria where, what was this? Oh God, I read about this. Forced, I'm forgetting this. Forced assignment criteria. I'm going
There's
to
only
get
one.
back on this. And this is what I
Assignment
created.
criteria.
Yeah.
There's only one there, one row only, or you can add a row there.
You can add, you can keep adding, you can keep
Okay,
clicking on
okay.
plus to
Force
add.
assignment criteria.
I think this was where you
Force
are
assignment criteria. Mhm.
assigning to this particular
Mhm.
field. No, what was it? I'm forgetting. I read about this also and I can't recollect now.
Hmm.
I'll check this and get back. But this is also like all your um, different conditions,
Go back
inclusion,
there. Actually,
exclusion.
is that all the 3 are related or the independent? So the first one, go to the first one. Are you writing to the first one, the second and third tab, or is it all the 3 conditions are independent?
They are in sequence, no?
Yeah. So
Now
all these three?
what I'm asking is, the rule what you have written, the second tab, go to second tab, is it you have selected the first record here? So
I'm going to explain that. I got your question.
Yes, sir.
So what this tells you is that first you're defining what all is the priority for you. Then you're defining the inclusions, like what all should be considered so that you honor this priority. So here what I'm considering only the work orders which are in either released or unreleased status. I'm considering only the standard work orders. Or do you want to include all the work orders?
That means there will be no material allocation to non-standard orders as per this?
No. I'm just prioritizing, right? Here I'm just creating the priority conditions. So which order should be given priority?
I think did you write all these attributes for the work order data type called start date? Go back to the first one. What is the field you are in right now?
No.
No, they are independent. Yeah.
They are dependent, but all these three together decide your material how available it should be. So first I'm just setting the list of...
Yeah. So those that are excluded, what happens to those in the second tab?
So in the second one here, like suppose there's some low value material which kind of fall in the procurement in the above priority one category. I've decided one based on category, but certain items in that category I don't want it necessarily to be included in a priority rule. I can add them to excluded components. Like it could be that you have made a generic rule, but certain things you want to exclude, right? So you can add them in the excluded component.
So that means there will be no availability worked out for that? Or
Yes.
what does it mean?
So basically it just says that you will not have like a monitoring on its availability to the production supervisor. This is just so that the production supervisor can set certain conditions that if you have an order from this customer, we always want to prioritize it. So suppose the same component is being used for another item which is ordered by some other customer. I just want, there's limited availability of component X. I just want to prioritize the customer order Y because he's a priority customer. That's one example. Or any
Okay.
like
Yeah. So here basically you are setting the priority. So rest of the other jobs, other type of the jobs, it will take the least priority.
yes, it'll take its normal course of how manufacturing goes on. When it's released, it'll look for the components, it'll consume the components, and it'll continue its process.
So can you have multiple inclusion criteria?
What do you mean by multiple inclusion?
So inclusion in the form you are seeing one. If you save this, it gets a record, and you can have some other like this is only one criteria you can have, or you can have multiple inclusion criteria.
No, this is all the inclusion fields that you can play around with. You can choose like you can choose different status, different order types, or sub order types if you have.
Yeah, this is the only combination. Yeah.
Okay. No,
In the inclusion and this forced assignment, I forgot. I think the forced assignment was if there are orders from this customer, they are immediately assigned the material or something like that.
Right, something like that. Yeah, that's what the name sounds to imply. Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah, and after you have your availability rules, like I said, it's just a way to prioritize.
So
Then
can you
there
save
is
this? Save the changes here.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have this page called material availability assignment. So in this page, based on whatever work orders are open in the system, you can have a view on whether the components are going to be available or not. So I'm just refreshing this. So because the work order should have changed, or calculate material availability, it will just show you all the work orders in the system. And
okay, so these are clear from a material point of view. These two are clear.
No, actually, one more question is this impacts only the unreleased orders or released orders already?
No, both, right?
We have chosen to include both unreleased and released. So that's the reason it's taking both. But if you want, I think releasing the orders makes more sense, or especially high customer orders, the unreleased ones also make sense.
So it depends on when they release. If they release much in advance, then it's okay. But if they release too late, then maybe we want to consider unreleased also.
Correct.
I think this will work only upon release. Unreleased is kind of a draft kind of an order.
No, it depends on how they want to do it.
We came here, right? In the inclusion criteria, we said consider the released and the unreleased ones. So sometimes for the unreleased order, it's a important like customer order, you might want to prioritize that, right? So that is what we have given in the inclusion criteria.
Oh my God. Then what happens is if somebody puts in an order and not released, still that is with the planning thing.
Yeah, that will create the problem.
No, it's okay, but you can go by start date or scheduled ship date for prioritization. So that's okay.
Yeah.
Supposing they release orders only when they're about to work on it, if they follow that practice, then we do need unreleased and released. So it all depends on how the factory wants to do it, right?
I think how you model it, I think that's what you have an option.
Yes.
But typical, I don't think typical best practices nobody considers unreleased. Yeah.
No, don't assume anything like that. It varies from place to place.
That's why I said typically, yeah.
No typical, nothing typical.
Okay, so here, based on that, I've just come here and now whatever orders I'm having, it kind of giving me a view of whether the materials are available and what is the priority of each of the work order. So this is just giving,
it is listed in the order of priority, the work orders?
yeah, so see, it just assigned its own in its own logic 1 and 2. Basically, for the given condition, both are the same level, but it has to just give a priority, right? Maybe with the, based on, yeah, based on the date or something, it is taken and given priority 1 and priority 2.
Okay.
I just wanted, what is that? So when you click on that more details, it gives you more details about how much material is, how much quantity is available to transact. So for the order 1003, I need standard component, but I have available 100. I require 5, which I will have it. So here it will tell you whether it's picked, if there's a shortage.
Right. This is very good. This is wonderful enhancement.
Correct. And in fact, this field was interesting to me. I don't know from where it's going to get this expected supply. I'm
Maybe
guessing
purchase orders.
Maybe from open orders.
Yeah.
And again, something very new what I have seen, which is very, very, very new just this month or few weeks back, which has come is...
A quick question. So what it is doing? Prioritizing, it is allocating them, or is it what it is doing? What the outcome?
No. This is just a view to your production supervisor as to if there are these orders, I know that this order can be met, there's no shortage. This order can be met, there's no shortage. In the previous one, we were doing the prioritization. But in this screen, we are just seeing the material. Like if you see this one, I'm just seeing that this component, how much is available. So if you see STD2, I have only 90 available to transact. This is just a material view, like how you see in inventory. This is the typical view that we keep seeing, and the inventory manager has a view to this. But normally the production guy may not have a view.
So this is just a dashboard, this is dashboard.
Correct. But it cannot be converted into release, am I right? After doing all this prioritization, can he release it straight away using that priorities?
He can, what I've seen is he can change the priority and change the allocation. So suppose this is priority 2 and it has got some material assigned, but this is priority 1. They can change the assignment is what I've read, maybe somewhere here, release and pick material. So this is priority 2, but I wanted to release and pick material now. Like though it's priority 2, because I think this is more important. You can just give some details and do.
Yeah, this is soft allocation. It does not prevent you from transacting whichever way you want.
Correct. And
that means after release, it automatically allocates.
After release, no, there's no reservation here. No, there's no reservation here. It's just that the view that the material is available. So if I release the work order, it should get completed on time. You know, once you release the work order, you begin working on it. The materials can get issued to every operation. So it is just a view that, okay, I'm about to release this work order. Do we have sufficient components? If not, I want to prioritize, take away from, if the same component is allocated to some other work order, I can take away.
Hey, what it is doing is, it is just giving you idea of whether you are able to complete that order or not for that material. But
correct.
When you, at the same time, if the sales order is get released, that will get this material. This is not the real data.
Correct. So see,
I mean, soft allocation. It's a soft allocation. It's not preventing anything.
Correct.
Yes, this is not doing anything. It is just showing whether you are able to, you have enough material or not to start the release the job.
Correct. Then after seeing that, you can always take action of releasing also from that action bar.
Yeah, so I just unreleased this work order because I thought, okay, it's getting, it has some material available, but I want to use this material somewhere else or whatever. It's just a view. It's just a view that you know how things are going to be behaving on your shop floor.
Yeah, so but Deepti, the question still remains, when does this get recalculated or refreshed?
This one? This
Yeah.
one, you see, there's a button here that you can come and calculate the material availability.
Ah,
So this
okay.
is for your view, right? So you just come here, you see calculate, and then you get a view. So I'm
Okay.
sure in some time maybe they will put some synchronized job or something else. But right now, this is what I've seen.
But when you enter the screen, it every time freshly calculates?
I think no, I had to either refresh or do the calculate material availability.
Okay, so it will show the previous status. Even if some material has arrived, let us say, it will not update that status till you run one of these two.
Till you do the calculate material availability. Because I think it has to pull the information from your inventory storage, right?
Right.
So, I mean, that is what I have seen, because when I came into this page, right now during the session, first the work orders, my previous work orders, which I was kind of practicing during the day, you know, for the demo, for this training, was visible. When I hit on calculate, that's when the page refreshed. So it's not refreshing on its own.
Okay, okay.
Then what is the refresh button?
Just to refresh the results, like you're already working
refresh
on
again
the
and
page.
again.
Yeah, like probably they're similar.
Similar, yeah. I think both will have same impact probably.
I don't think so. There will be a difference.
It is not useful at all, you know.
Yeah, there will be some difference between those two buttons. Yeah.
Yeah. So Dipti, basically, so what happens is for the supervisor, it gives you a idea how much inventory you gonna finish it. But there are other things in sales order or receiving all those stuff get the prioritized, and they will take the inventory regardless whether you have a inventory shows availability or not.
Right. This is, like I said, this is just a view. It's not doing anything.
Yeah.
This is just to have a view.
Yeah.
I think the difference between refresh and calculate material is calculate material refreshes the material for the jobs, whereas refresh will refresh the material, the work order statuses, right? So not the material. So this is always work orders are in a progress, you know. So it keeps changing the statuses.
And also, when you start the move order, if somebody is not completed that move order, material is sitting there forever. That has to give this dashboard should give the visibility of that one also. If that move order line is very old, nobody is attending that one, so that material also should be pushed back to the whatever the peak location, so that will show up as available.
This is not
No, it will not unreserve on its own. Unless you take steps to unreserve it, it will not unreserve on its own.
But this screen should tell, hey, who is where is that?
Right, so it show you the required and open and allocated. It shows you those fields, but they will not change unless you do something.
Yes.
Allocations will not change unless you do something.
So yeah, but it's giving you a view, and then based on this view, you can take, and this is such a new feature that we haven't explored fully, that how to use it the best. So from capability point of view,
we have written many custom reports. Typically, it's called a can build report, which I did for one client. It was very useful. So what are the ones that we can build from a material point of view? So this is satisfying that requirement to some extent. We had a very interesting can build report for one of my clients. We had a custom report we had done. We prioritized the work orders and allocated the material, a soft allocation, to show which ones can be done and which ones cannot be done.
Dilip, this is basically MES, there is a workbench, same thing, almost similar. Yeah.
Okay.
They merged almost MES some functionality into it.
Okay.
So Deepti, here, it shows projected available is 100, required is 5, open is 5. The moment when you create the move order, it shows as a available allocated here.
Should be, like I said, I haven't used it, but
Yeah,
that's
when you
what
do
even I understand. Yeah.
When you do a pick release, it will allocate, yes.
Correct.
So this is
Okay,
what I understand out of this page.
When it shows as a pick, then
when you transact the move order,
Correct. I think
Yeah,
we can
when you
explore this. This we can explore. You can move on. Actually, this.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, let's go ahead.
Yes, let's go ahead.
okay. So I've just put up slides on this one, like the material availability, what it does. And now I'm just going to discuss on all the features that we have on this. There is also very similar to how we are creating our calendar and all. You can create a production exception. Again, I'm not too clear on the real-time use of this, so now I'm just covering, you know, the capabilities of the application. So here we are create an exception to either your work center or to your work area. Like there could be that there is a ad hoc exception which is impacting the whole work area or the work center. So here you can, or a particular resource. They've again, which is impacting your production lines. So here again, you can just create a work area. And in that work area, if you want to say that certain work orders which are operated, you can add them here. So like I said, I didn't understand the real use of it when we already have the shift and the resource exceptions that we are creating. So all I understand is like shift exceptions and all are those timing exceptions which are impacting your calendar. Probably this is just to one particular work area, work center, or a group of resource.
This is for specific work orders.
Yeah.
Non-specific work orders, maybe.
Yeah, where you can just create that for these are the impacted work orders. So if you want to just create an exception to the entire work area, you can just create like this and save it. And if you want to include that they are not all the work orders which are impacted but only a certain set, you can include it here. So basically all the features that I'm discussing now are most of these are added very newly. Okay, some of them like orderless and all, but added like
These
a couple of
exceptions,
releases before.
These exceptions are only information, or it got any impact?
No, it has got an impact because it will delay your completion for the work order. It will impact those dates. It will update the right dates. So this is not just for information or exception. This is going to impact your completion dates. And this will be taken into account and probably, I guess, update your work order dates already.
Completion dates and all. Okay.
Okay, but this is like I found it very similar to